And we're going to move into another part of the program, and it's super exciting for Lee and I to have the most incredible, remarkable human joining us tonight and sharing some extraordinary things that have been happening, helping others heal. And that's what this program is all about, Healing Wednesday. And so I want to make sure that John White, our special guest, is there on the Zoom with us. So John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we're so excited that you're here with us. We feel so honoured and privileged and special, and we want to tell everyone about you.
John White is a Rife researcher. If you don't know what Rife research is or about Royal
You're
Rife,
in for a treat.
You're in for a treat, because
Yes.
I'm going to tell you. And he's an inventor from New Zealand, now living in Nanjing, China. With a background in electrical engineering, physics, and computer science, he has been researching and developing solutions to serious diseases since 2008. John specializes in energy and scalar resonance healing, biofeedback, and pulse electromagnetic therapy.
Now, John established the Cancer Clinic New Zealand Limited in 2010. With an insatiable desire for truth and knowledge, John has collaborated with global research groups to discover answers to health issues. And he introduced the Spooky2 line of products to the world in 2013. Since then, John has focused on providing affordable health solutions for everyday people.
Now, Spooky2 is now the world's best health treatment system, encompassing many modes of treatment, local or remote. What started as a seed of an idea from one man has grown to become a forest of ideas shared by thousands. John, it's remarkable what you've done. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the show. Now, from the very beginning, I just want to say it isn't just me. It's a whole team of people, good people, people on every country of the world who are contributing to the cause. I may have started it, but now I'm really just a part of a massive community.
Can I ask a question at this point in time? Because I do.
Absolutely.
Good. I don't want to miss this opportunity to say, what is Rife therapy? What is the history? How does it work?
Back in 1921, a gentleman named Royal Rife, on paper he was just a scientist, but he achieved incredible things in his lifetime. He created a very powerful microscope, and he used this incredibly powerful microscope to see microorganisms that couldn't be seen with any other microscopes live. The microscope had the magnification of electron microscopes today, but electron microscopes, they have to kill the subject before they're viewed. So you can't see the effect of the microbe when you're applying something to it. And Royal Rife wanted to use machines to kill viruses and bacteria and see the effects live on the microscope. And so he developed the microscope, and then he started working on his machines that created special frequencies that disabled and destroyed these pathogens. I'm sort of compressing quite a long period of time into a small time in the explanation. He found that different microbes were affected by specific frequencies. If you could find those frequencies and then apply them using the appropriate equipment, then that microbe becomes history. He found the frequency for cancer, or frequencies for cancer, and the authorities became interested. Now, back in the 1925, 27, that sort of time, the firm path of today hadn't quite been set, where scientists' minds were probably a little bit more open to ideas. And they decided, well, okay, let's do a proper trial. Let's get some people together, some sick people, and see whether these claims have any sort of foundation. So they, and I think it was 1930 or 31, they organised a trial. 16 terminally sick patients were signed up for this trial. The trial was to take place over the period of a couple of months, and they employed people to oversee the experiment. They had these people to count the dead people at the end of the experiment, because these people were terminally ill and they weren't expected to survive. But after the treatment, when all was said and done, all of these people, all 16 of these patients, made miraculous recoveries as in no longer had the disease, which is really unheard of. And so they had a big celebration party. They had a photo of the party in the newspaper with all these famous doctors raising their glasses. Toast. It's the end. The cure for cancer. That was the theme of the celebration party, because they had found the solution. Well, not long after that, strange things started to happen. The doctors that were invited to this ball were many of them started to say that they weren't actually there. I suppose it would have been their doppelganger, and the results were refuted. And then that was really much the start of the descent of Royal Raymond Rife, where he became targeted, I suppose you could say, and became embroiled in legal battles and other distractions, things that took his mind away from what he was really good at, which was finding the solutions. And it all became lost and forgotten. His research papers were burnt, destroyed, and well, not all of them. Luckily, there's some that have survived, but only a small portion of them. His equipment, of course, was destroyed. I believe there's only one microscope that he invented that's still around now, and that's in a secret storage place. And his treatment machines have, of course, been destroyed as well.
John, how is it, if you're going to talk about the Rife machines, if they've all been destroyed, how can somebody use a Rife machine?
Well, exactly. Those questions are in my mind as well. Something like 15 years ago. How is it that a solution was found and it's been forgotten? B, why aren't we trying to find a solution and repeating history? Why aren't we doing this now? And I couldn't find an answer for both of those questions. So I decided, well, okay, let's do it. And so this is what started in New Zealand, and then it's now continuing here in snowy China, where we are pretty much duplicating what Royal Rife did 100 years ago, and selling it to people now, so people can today apply what Royal Rife applied in the way of frequencies and restore their health.
Love it.
I love that. So tell us
Thank you
about
for
this
that.
beautiful community that is
Yes.
creating Spooky2.
Yep.
Well, gosh, where to begin? It started in a garage, and I guess like Apple Computer, and they started in the garage as well. where I had a vision where people should have the right to live a life without needless suffering. They should have a choice. There are solutions being provided, but they're not really focused to the people. They're really more focused towards businesses and not the individual. And through family disasters, health problems, I came to realize just how helpless we are. Everyone is when it comes to disease. If you get sick, then you've only got a small choice of what you can do, what path you can walk down. And so I decided to apply what formal training I had to creating solutions. And early on in the piece, I came to discover a very clever man who did just the same thing. At that time, it was about 70 years ago, who was Royal Raymond Rife. He was a genius well before his time, very much like Nikola Tesla was. What Royal Rife was discover something which has subsequently been pushed to one side and ridiculed and everything. He discovered the cure for cancer. That's what he did, and other diseases as well. And yet now we're 2023, and each year we put on the pink ribbons and red socks and whatever, and we go on these charity drives to find, to pay for this research to find a solution to cancer. Well, it's been discovered. It's here and it's now. But sadly, science hasn't gone down that path for whatever reason. So I decided to put on my boots and see where it takes me. And I'm still walking that path. We have developed the machines that do just that, the machines that do provide alternatives, valid alternatives, for people that are sick and want to take control over their own health. Now, okay, it started off with me, but, when you do something that's good, other people, good people, gravitate towards it. And what I found is that I became surrounded by wonderful people much more smarter than myself, contributing, putting in their time to help educate people, putting in the time to give suggestions on how things can be improved. And what are we now? We're 12, 15 years down the track. That's not the official launch date of Spooky. It started much earlier than the 8 years that we formally say, but it started way before then. Where what we have is something very amazing, which has been spawned from the goodness of thousands, literally thousands of people's hearts. What I have realized is many of the people that have helped Spooky grow are people that have themselves suffered terrible catastrophes in their lives, or even they've got a disease in their body and they're wanting a solution. But they're the kind of people that want to share successes and say they might find that a certain type of process will eliminate their disease, and they want to share it. They don't want to hide it under a bushel. And so with all the protocols, the health protocols, and the equipment that Spooky has and makes and has developed, that's come, I'd say, pretty much purely through the goodness of their hearts. Now, it all started in a little country called New Zealand, which is just off the east coast of Australia, southeast coast of Australia. Not many people know where New Zealand is. But even the small country of New Zealand was quite opposed to this small little startup company, unimportant, but still providing some people with hope that there is something that maybe they can do rather than just go into a corner and quietly die. And so I was put under pressure, too much pressure, really. And I decided, well, I'll go to a country which is more free. Now, most people would think a free country will be a Western country, but I decided to go to not Australia, but that is quite a beautiful country. But I moved to China. Of course, in news reports, China's a terrible, terrible country with these sweatshops of little children on sewing machines. It might have been maybe 50, 60 years ago, but China's provided me with the freedom to further develop our machines and grow the company.
I love, John, that you said all of this has been created from the goodness of others. You're one of many. So talk us through, somebody now wants to have a Spooky2, a Rife product for themselves. How do we go about getting it and then applying it for ourselves?
Well, we make the products in China just for the benefit of our viewers who do listen too much to news which goes around of how terrible China is. When I go to our office in the morning and I say hi to the girls and the two guys, they say good morning, and about 10 of them will say, I love you, you know, and they do. It's a very loving company. I guess this comes back again to you attract people that are like, and I don't like to work in a company. I like to do things with friends that are highly productive and loving, and in a loving environment. And yes, it is. I think it is work, but it's not, because how can work be something that is a true passion? And so these girls say, I love you, and I love you back, you know, and I get hugs and everything. It's a beautiful place. It's very warm. If it felt like a company, if we had board meetings and all of those sorts of nonsense, I just wouldn't do it. I just would not do it. I believe you've got to follow your heart. You've got to do what you are destined to do and do your best. With that slight distraction, we'll get back to where you get your products from. You get your products from our company. We ship directly from our company. We put great importance on keeping things affordable. There are other companies that sell, they call them Rife machines, which is arguable, but it doesn't really matter if it does the job. But they have middle people that take their cut, and the price goes up, and even their own price, their profit margins are incredibly high. But one of our visions is to provide a Rife style machine for every home. And to do that, you can't charge high prices. You just can't. We can sell our products for 5 times our current price to match our competitors, if you call them competitors, with the same kind of pricing. And we'd be rich. But it's really not what we do. It's not what we're about. I didn't start out doing what I do for money. So if I'm happy riding my 3 bicycles, and that's it, well, that's it. I've got my enjoyment, and it's important to enjoy your life. So to buy products, you buy products straight from the company. If you go to the website spooky2.com, you'll see that's our Launchpad website. Everything's there. From spooky2.com, you can wade through some information, a bit of history about Royal Rife. What we are doing now would have been impossible if Royal Rife hadn't made his important discoveries. So we have to, we believe, give credit to the man who started it all. And we've got our sales site, which you can go from there, which is spooky2-mall.com or mal.com, I guess you'd say it in America. It's the sales site, and then you can go on there and get lost in all the products that we make, because we make a lot now. You might have seen, but we don't rest on our laurels. Remember, our mission is to eliminate needless suffering, and different diseases need different kinds of approaches. So some diseases are best suited for plasma, some for contact type style treatment. There's scalar, which is absolutely amazing. And there's so many different modalities. One's specifically for joint pains, our Pulse DMF series. We do a lot. We've got 3 different brands as well. We've got Hiwi, Mirrormate, and Spooky. Each brand has got different kind of roles. But yeah, we are very, very active, very active. We never sit back and think, right, our work's done. There's nothing else to do. We get. I'll give you an idea of how we work. We have a Facebook group, Spooky2 Rife for Life. We've got several Facebooks, but this is our groups, but this is our largest one. We've got something like 50,000 people there. These people are very active. They give advice to each other on what worked for them the best, different kinds of protocols or different machines. And they also come up with ideas. Collectively, 50,000 people, if you put them all together, you get absolutely amazing ideas. And we use these ideas within the equipment that we make to improve and refine what we currently have. So we never sit still.
John, we're seeing a very common theme these days when we're going back to the 20s and 30s and finding these geniuses and finding out that they had a lot more than we ever knew. You are the leading edge of that today, and you've told us a whole lot about what you're doing, but there is a mountain of things, I think, beyond that, and we're going to invite everybody to go to the spooky2.com, and I want to just say Spooky2, the 2 is the number 2, right, not
written out, so it's SPOOKY, and then the number 2,
then a dash,
.com.
Oh, .com, okay.
That's for the website.
Right.
And then you have another website for all the products, which is Spooky2 with a hyphen and then mall, MALL.com. I love that you began with the vision to end suffering on the planet. Lee and I believe this is our birthright to be here in full health and vibrancy, to end suffering. And you have all these things that give hope. If you're out there and you have a situation where you cannot find the answer, there is hope. That we always believe that there is hope no matter what you're facing. So I encourage everyone to go and have a look at what things there are available. So John, I don't want to leave, but is there any final words that you want to share with our community?
I guess I think the final word I'd like to say is something which I strongly believe in and have applied from the very beginning of my I've done too much talking, beginning of Spooky. That's to pass love forwards. Help other people that need help. These other people can be friends or family, or they could be strangers. They can even be your enemies. But pass love forwards, and wonderful things happen. Things happen to the people that you're helping, but that goodness is reflected back onto yourself. and you can find yourself suddenly having good luck. And where did this all start? Well, it came with blindly passing love forwards, blindly helping people that need your help. So just do it. Don't, by blindly, I mean do it without asking for anything back. Do it even for people that you don't really know the background of, but you recognize they need help. They've stumbled in their lives. Give them the and help them raise themselves up to stand again. Just pass this love forwards, and good things happen.
Oh,
What a beautiful quote.
Thank you, my
Pass
friend.
love forward and good things will happen.
that's
Thank
great.
you
Thank
so
you, thank you,
much.
thank you, John.
Thank you.
right.
Thank you for inviting me to your show. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Wonderful. Well, we are out of time, so we're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12.